berm really going to work, and is that going to be a viable solution for how long? The cities are doing the same thing. Like if you go out to the beaches out here, a lot of them are built berms during the winter, to protect the low-lying businesses and houses. But in terms of having a general plan for the installation and retrofit and things like that, I haven't seen anything like that.
Okay. Yeah. So have you had any interaction with Sandag?
Not really.
Okay.
No. Some of the folks I worked with on the project that were with Scripps, they had more of a regular interaction with Sandag. But it's a difficult. My impression just from the discussions is that it's a lot of different pressures from the different cities and different people, different priorities, but they have. One of the things they have, supported over the years, they've supported a lot of the beach replenishment stuff and a lot of the monitoring along the coastline. So, they're probably in one of the best positions for that kind of thing, So, and there may be stuff going on that I don't know about, it's more.
Yeah, I know about their shoreline working group, and I was
right. Yeah, and that's some of the Scripps people that I was involved with were involved with that, so they might have more knowledge of if there's real specific kind of bigger plans going on. Yeah.
So how would you assess the prospects for adaptation in the region? I know that's a big question.
From my perspective, I guess there's positive things in seeing that people are thinking about it from a planning perspective, so, and it's probably the best place to start is with the new stuff because that's the easiest place to start,
You mean with new building?
Right, yeah, so that at least we're not building things now that are going to have problems in 50 years, you know, because those are the things that have to last 50 to 100 years. So I think it's kind of positive from that perspective, at least within what I'm seeing in the military side. Like I said, I was a little bit disheartened with the city stuff that they didn't really take that on, and they said they were going to, and I still haven't heard that it's anything started, but maybe I just haven't heard about it. So I think. And your points about Sandag, it would be really nice to be seeing things in the news about what Sandag has a big plan for saving the beaches and the shorelines. That would be nice. So it's kind of mixed, I guess. Just that there is forward motion and it's in the place where it probably should start, at least with some of the and seeing the movement towards at least doing the vulnerability assessments, and the local cities getting plans in place. That's all, I think that's all really good. So, yeah, I think there's at least motion in the right direction, and then it would, The other thing we're seeing, we talked a lot with the people at Pendleton, was just that. Beyond just building, if they understand kind of how their shorelines work, then they can. And up there, they are doing a lot of construction up there. But if they understand that and the roles that the cliffs and the things play, then they can sort of have a plan that includes retreat and adaptation and things like that, especially a place like that where they haven't built things right up to the edge of the cliff everywhere already, like some of the cities have, and the cities have to make choices between letting houses fall into the water, and things like that. Whereas the Marines up there, they can make the choice to say, well, this is not build anything within, a couple 100 meters of the shoreline of the top of the cliffs, and then that's our buffer, all that cliff erosion, put sand on the beaches protect the cliffs, and everything works together the way it's sort of meant to work. Whereas as soon as we, don't allow the cliffs to erode, because we put some protection there, then there's no sand supply to the beaches anymore, then we don't have protection to the cliffs anymore, and then you're just in this road where you have to have an engineered system to keep the thing from falling apart. So it'd be nice to see, and at least having those, we were having those conversations with them, that kind of thinking would be getting, put into the adaptation part of it.
Okay, and were there conversations like that at Coronado or only at Pendleton?
Pretty much more at Pendleton, because at Coronado, they really don't have that luxury. They're sort of in that situation where they've either built up to the back of the dunes or they've actually built onto the beach, and there's very few places where they can just allow for natural retreat. It's just not. So that's why they're sort of locked in my view, they're locked into putting sand on the beach pretty much, for the next 100 years or however long, that's the only way that they're gonna protect their assets in a way that, allows them to keep doing business the way they want to, which means, doing amphibious training on the beaches, not just have a big rock pile, where they can't do the things they need to do. And same with Coronado. You're not going to have tourists if there's just a big rock berm along the shoreline, so. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all really helpful. But do you think there's anything I've missed or that you'd like to add?
There's a couple of things that I thought about just, as we were going through our, the things we looked at and the things we didn't look at. And one of the things that, there's a lot of focus on infrastructure, but one of the bigger things really is more the natural resource part of it. And there hasn't been as much focus on that, I don't think. But from the military perspective, the military has a requirement under the Sykes Act to sort of, be a good steward of all these natural resources that they have on their bases. And that includes, a wide range of things that are very sensitive to climate change. And that part of this really, out here anyway, has not been assessed very carefully yet, in terms of how they're going to kind of maintain that responsibility and know if the changes that are happening are climate related or if they're related to something else. Is it changing temperatures? Is it rising sea levels? Is it, changing in the saltwater content of the groundwater? All those kind of things. And it has obviously a lot of regional context to that. And I don't know, for the cities and the ports and things like that, if they, I think they probably have a lot of the same concerns, but again, I'm not, it's one of those things where you probably want a regional plan, that incorporates, a lot of the open space and the shoreline areas and things like that. But that's kind of a big area that, I don't think has been well developed yet, in terms of just knowing what the vulnerabilities are, and then starting to build plans around that. And then the other thing that I haven't seen well addressed, that also really plays into kind of the regional aspect, is sort of the interaction of the changing precipitation patterns with things like sea level or temperatures and things like that. We're such a all the flooding that happens here nowadays typically happens kind of in the combination of coastal flooding interacting with high rainfall runoff, and there's places everybody knows about that are vulnerable to that already, and those are the places going to be more vulnerable, and it's going to depend a lot on if those storms become more intense or not. If they become more intense, it's going to be a real problem. If they